Are you a fan of Limbo, Inside, Zelda, those type of games? You're looking for something with kind of a darker theme that has a really good story and a really cool atmosphere? Well then, my friends, I have a game that may just be right up your alley. Check out my review of Neversong coming up next on Mumbles. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Mumbles. On today's episode of Mumbles, I'm bringing you guys a game review of a game called Neversong. Now, this is a game that when it first was in its early development stages and it was first coming out, it was named Once Upon a Coma. Obviously, they changed the name because it's a little bit more lax to Neversong. And it is my pleasure today to bring you guys this game as a game review. I'm very excited about it. It's a really cool game, and I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. So guys, first things first, I do have to say I gave Neversong on today's Mumbles review a 7 out of 10 score. Why did I give it that 7 out of 10 score? I'm about to tell you guys all right now. First things first, we do have to start with some general information about the product. So guys, first things first, this game can be picked up for the price of $14.99 and is available on Xbox One, which is what we're reviewing it on today, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC/Steam. Guys, as far as gameplay length, this game has a story that will last you around approximately 5 hours, give or take some. Guys, now I'm going to read you the description from the creators themselves. Upon waking from a coma, Pete's girlfriend is nowhere to be found. Thomas Brush, creator of Pinstripe, invites you to investigate the screams coming from the heart of Blackfort Asylum, the increasingly violent behavior of the grown-ups, and the strange truth about Pete's past in this hauntingly dreamlike fable. Discover what's lurking beyond the doorbell in this strange tale that started almost a decade ago. From Red Wind Field to the haunting halls of Blackfort Asylum, explore 6 moody illustrated levels. Fight your way through hordes of bosses, monsters, and bloodthirsty grown-ups with your trusty baseball bat. Immerse yourself in a breathtaking piano-centric sound piece. Join your quirky childhood pals and trusty pet bird on an adventure to discover the truth about your recent coma. Basically, guys, in simple terms, this is a side-scrolling, linear platforming game that draws on a dark story to keep players engaged. It very much carries that Limbo/Inside type vibe throughout the entire game and offers you plenty of puzzles that you'll have to figure out as you proceed through it. Also, it does have some combat in it to keep you intrigued and a whole lot of collectibles along the way. But is it a good game? Let's find out. First, let's start with the graphics, the soundtrack, and the controls. First off, the graphics in this game has some very well-made graphics. You can 100% see the inspiration they drew from similar games such as Limbo, Inside, and even some of Zelda. But they take it to a much darker level, and they actually 100% pull it off. Everything looks dark, grimy, but very, very beautiful. Well done and well created artwork in this game. Nothing but high score in the graphics department. Soundtrack-wise, one of my biggest gripes in most games is the soundtrack because a lot of companies just don't seem to understand how soundtracks should work, in my opinion. But with this game, I didn't have that. They did a piano-centric soundtrack that really worked well for this game. Control-wise, the controls work great. If you've ever played any of the other games that are like this, Inside or Limbo, I know I keep saying that, Zelda, those type of games with some platforming, some action adventure, some hack and slash, that is the exact kind of game that you're in for with this one. The controls work great. Guys, now we're going to talk about the gameplay, but before we get into the gameplay, I do have to ask you guys all a huge favor. If you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel, ring the little notification bell, and drop a like on the video. Guys, helps the channel to grow. I do weekly game reviews, and I have gameplay videos, I have regular reviews, I have dog videos. I have all kinds of different things on my channel. I'm hoping that something there will catch your eyes and that you'll have something that you can get some enjoyment from. So guys, please check out my channel. Please check out and subscribe and do all that stuff. And just know how much I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now let's get back into the gameplay section of this game. Guys, gameplay-wise, you will recognize the type of gameplay this game has based on other various adventures of gaming that you've played. It very much resembles games like Zelda and Limbo and Inside and those type of games. What I mean by this is that this game plays out as a platformer meets hack and slash, meets exploration, meets puzzle solving. Say that 5 times fast. Basically, as you progress through this game while controlling Pete, you will come upon areas in which you have to use various skills and items you have collected throughout your time in this game in order to get past puzzles. You also have to use these skills you've acquired to beat bosses and so on and so forth. That's all there really is to this game. It's very simple to master once you understand what you're doing, and there really isn't too much of a challenge here. So guys, to summarize this in neat and simple terms, there's combat in this game, hack and slash, really, there's no real combat system to it. You just hack and slash and hope for the best. There is platforming, jumping from one thing to another. There is puzzle solving. Sometimes you have to push stuff around. Sometimes you have to use abilities. Sometimes you have to figure out how to hit certain switches. All different kinds of things puzzle-wise. And finally, there is the exploration aspect of figuring out where you're supposed to go, how to get more collectibles, blah, blah, blah. You guys get the idea, but that is the gameplay of Neversong. It is a tried, tested, and true method, and they did a good job with the gameplay for the most part. Now let's talk about the cons for this game. The first con that I have is platforming, especially swinging back and forth on the metal spiky things, is a little clunky at times. For example, when you want to move from one part of the spiky ball chain thing to another, you actually have to jump off and catch onto the bottom. It can be very much a pain in the butt. So I'm listing that as a con. The platforming at times, you have to be very precise with it, and that is a little disappointing. The combat system for our second con is not very exciting. As I said, you're very much hacking and slashing and hoping for the best. There's really nothing thought out about it. It just slash, 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 slash. Oh, you won. Good job. My third con is that the enemies are not very varied in this game. Said that 5 times fast again. Very, 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 very. I'm sorry. The enemies in this game are not, there's not a lot of different enemy types in this game. Basically, you're going to see enemies and they all kind of have that same vibe slash feeling to them. They all kind of follow the same basic principles and ideas. And that's a little disappointing. I do wish they had more of a variety when it came to the enemies, because sometimes just that alone can take the game to the next step. So guys, my final con is that this game is only about 5 hours long. You can beat it in one sitting, and that's always a little disappointing. However, they did compensate with the price, so I can't complain too much about it, but I'm still listing it here as a con nonetheless. So guys, now the stuff to talk about is why I gave this game a 7 out of 10 on our Mumbles review. Guys, you know I'm a big fan of these type of games. I love Limbo. I played it on my channel. I played inside of my channel. Love both of those games. I love Zelda. Love anything that has exploration, anything that has combat, anything that has a great story. This game really showed out when it comes to the story. But the problem is that they made a game that was very generic when it came to the gameplay mechanics. You've seen people swing on things. You've seen people grab things. You've seen people flail. You've seen different puzzles where you have to push different things around. You've seen all of that. So I couldn't sit here and say, oh, it's an 8 or a 9, because you've seen all this stuff. Now, with that being said, I'm not a believer that you have to do something different each time you create a game, but you do have to make yourself stand apart. Even if you're doing the same thing, you have to do it in a way that makes your game really showcase itself. So what I'm trying to say here is, like with Zelda uses bright colors and all this other stuff. They use different types of items. They use different types of mechanics and things like that. And there's not always something new about Zelda, but there is always something that makes you want to play it. This game, gameplay-wise, it didn't do itself any favors when it comes to swinging, and you can see that you need to drop down, and you can't do that. You have to literally jump off and reattach yourself. It's just the little things like that that really detracted from the value of this game for me. So guys, with all that being said, if you're a fan of twisted stories with decent puzzling, some decent platforming, and some decent gameplay all around, you like dark environments, you like things that are not always the brightest in the world, and what I mean by that is sometimes you just want a game with a dark environment. If you like games like that, or you just like really good stories, check out Neversong. It's a fantastic game, and it's for that reason on today's Mumbles review, I am giving this game a 7 out of 10. Guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed this review. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below as to whether or not you agree with the score that I gave this game. Maybe you think it should be higher. Maybe you think it should be lower. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, guys, this is going to be Mumbles signing off. Please smack that subscribe button, smack the like button, smack all those buttons. Now, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Take care.